Welcome to another episode of the Dirt on Growing podcast. Today we're going to be talking about magnesium. Now, magnesium is considered a secondary macronutrient. Plants need it in a moderate amount, but it's one of the core nutrients that plays a vital role in biochemical processing and plant metabolism. And more importantly, magnesium sits at the center of the chlorophyll molecule. If magnesium is limited, plants cannot maintain chlorophyll density and photosynthetic capacity drops. Magnesium is an energy metabolism gatekeeper. In cells, ATP typically functions as a magnesium ATP complex, and magnesium is required across phosphorylation chemistry and for enzyme systems that move energy through metabolism. You can think of magnesium shortage as if the lights in the factory are on, but the factory can't run at full power even if you have enough NPK. Magnesium activates more enzymes than any other nutrient. It's also a cofactor and activator for a large set of enzymes involved in carbon fixation, respiration, and general biosynthesis. A lot of the science literature highlights magnesium-activated enzymes being tightly tied to photosynthetic performance and growth rate. Magnesium also supports carbohydrate partitioning and phloem loading. So one of the roles of magnesium is to help move sugars. Because magnesium is a mobile nutrient, deficiency symptoms typically start on older leaves and move up towards newer growth. The most common visual symptoms are intraveinal chlorosis on older leaves, where the veins stay green but the tissue between the veins starts to yellow. It typically progresses upward as the deficiency worsens, and in severe cases you might see marginal necrosis. The most common false positives could be from iron deficiency, which usually has the same type of visual symptoms but shows up on new growth first because iron is far less mobile than magnesium. But also environmental stress like cold roots, waterlogged soils, and high EC can mimic nutrient issues, so it's always recommended to test your soil to know for sure. Now, some of the most common magnesium sources in agriculture are things like dolomitic lime, which also contains calcium, which you can learn more about that on the calcium series that's also featured on this same channel. Dolomitic lime is most often used in cases where you have low soil pH and low magnesium levels. Magnesium sulfate, also known as Epsom salt, is by far one of the most used in both organic agriculture and in conventional hydroponic fertilizer manufacturing. It's a naturally occurring mineral that also contains sulfur, but it's extremely soluble and can be applied as a fertilizer in hydroponics, as a rapid field correction fertilizer, and as a foliar spray. Langbonite is another amendment that's not typically looked at for its magnesium content, but rather its potassium content. However, the magnesium in this particular product typically has higher solubility and a higher release rate than the potassium, and will oftentimes lead to increased magnesium supply with a slow release rate of potassium. I typically only use this amendment if I'm trying to correct magnesium deficiencies and I also have low potassium. But we can't talk about magnesium without talking about the relationship it has with potassium and other positively charged nutrient cations. High potassium availability or aggressive potassium fertilization can reduce magnesium uptake and internal transport. It can be easy to induce magnesium deficiency symptoms with an overabundance of potassium even when the soil magnesium isn't low. It's important to have balance between these two nutrients. Calcium and ammonium can also suppress magnesium uptake. They both compete with magnesium at exchange sites and at the root uptake interface, pushing plants into functional deficiency if either one of those is too high. It's really important to have the proper ratios of calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and ammonium, and they need to all be in balance to prevent antagonisms. Some practical, clean, logical decision making when it comes to the application of magnesium would be if the pH is low and magnesium is low, you should favor dolomitic lime. If pH is fine but magnesium is low or you need a fast soluble source, magnesium sulfate is probably the best choice. Now, if potassium is low and magnesium needs to be corrected, you can consider using K-Mag, also known as langbeinite. But always remember, it's best to test and not guess. Soil analysis can prevent big mistakes and nutrient antagonisms. And because magnesium is one of those nutrients that's sitting in the middle of the cation competition between potassium, calcium, sodium, and ammonium, the most reliable approach is to start with soil analysis so you can calculate the correct inputs for your soil type.